Are you ready to talk some Drake Maye?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. Monday, 14 of 18 overall and 11 on 11s. These are live. These are competitive. They're also divided into full field drills, which are harder to defend, and then those in the red zone, which, as you know, if you've been listening or following or reading, and you'll hear certainly in about 5-6 weeks, are much harder for quarterbacks.
Yeah.
The other two periods, still good in there, not as good. He was 6 of 8 just inside the red zone, 3 touchdowns on Monday of those 8 passes. Tuesday, not as good. Overall, full field and in the red zone, where they're starting about the 10-yard line, 9 of 14 with an interception. Inside the red zone on Tuesday, he went from 6 of 8 down to 3 of 6 with only 1 touchdown in those 6 red zone passes. So both days start fast. You and I were talking on the sideline yesterday because they were in the practice bubble. I'm curious if Josh's script, which in practice this is not the same intention as a game where you're trying to move downfield, you're trying to gain yards, you're trying to score points. This is try to see how effective your quarterback is at running these schemes. Do we need to keep it or throw it out? Felt like they're building him in a rhythm because he opens with a short throw to Kayshon Boutte on a stop route, a bootleg toss to Travion Henderson, check down to Henderson, and then finally a dig to Demario Douglas. This was yesterday, Tuesday, against tight coverage from Carlton Davis. So small, easy throws, build up some confidence. I don't know if that's there, but whether you want to go granular or big picture, what did you see from Drake over the last 2 days?
Yeah, we were talking about that. Is he one of those guys? Because there are certain quarterbacks that they need that sort of scripted in there for them.
Yes.
And it's not just this time of year. It's when the game's action. They want to get into hey, let me get a couple layups early, get my feet underneath me, breathe a little bit deeper, get all that, whatever, the nerves out of my system. And then I can go play ball the way I want to play ball, which is we know Drake wants to be aggressive and push the ball down the field. And I wonder if Josh, having looked back at what went down last year with Alex Van Pelt's offense and Drake and the time that he saw him, thinks that maybe he needs that, where I don't think necessarily that's how they operated at times last year. So I'm curious when it starts to get real serious here, if that's something that continues with Josh and how he plans for Drake. In general, I don't know. I'd say, like, if I had to give him a grade for the times that we saw him, B-. Like, I think it was pretty, again, I think some of this stuff has been overstated. It's good. I think as he went along, I think you saw him playing a little bit faster. Again, you mentioned Tuesday was a bit of a down day compared to Monday, but like, I think he's making decisions quicker, which is what you want to see in the offense. When we first saw him, was like, ooh, he's definitely thinking about, like, what am I supposed to do here? How's, what does Josh want out of this? And then I think as time went on, he played more confidently. The ball got out of his hands quicker. And that's what you want. To me, that's a sign that he's starting to get comfortable with what Josh is coaching him and what the system that they're running.
So here's part of that comfort going on through the play-by-play of his day Tuesday. Starts 4 for 4 with the sack, the one downfield throw, which is I've been paying more attention to. To me, that's about reads and comfort rather than just fattening up your completion percentage, which is not what Drake's trying to do, but happens a lot when you throw more checkdowns and you throw more screens. He goes in the next period, a low throw for Boutte, just missed it. Hunter Henry on a corner route to the left sideline against Jabril Peppers. Henry makes a nice one-handed catch. He scrambled. He reminded Stevenson of the flat where Robert Spillane would have sent him into a different dimension. And then he got picked off deep. And this was looking for Kyle Williams, this is the type of mistake that I think, like a lot of mistakes in camp, where they're encouraged, take a shot, see what the rookies have. And this was the case. The problem was Christian Gonzalez was there every step of the way, and even further ahead of Kyle Williams when he makes his one-handed pick that happened right in front of us. And you can watch this on the Patriots social media channels today, which they posted this morning, a one-handed grab. Corralled him at the line, was a step ahead of him, and then 2 steps ahead when he makes a pick. I'm not so worried about that. The thing for me was more inside the red zone, and this is how May went, and I'll toss it to you. Scramble immediately after they had to re-huddle because of a procedural error. An out route completion to Kendrick Bourne against Gonzalez, but it was short of the goal line. Demario Douglas slant, touchdown, good. Ramondre Stevenson drop, little far out ahead of him, tight coverage from Christian Ellis. And then you had a bad throw for Henry amid some shoddy protection, plus another Bourne completion, near pick after Keon White jumped offside. Quarterback run, and then overshot Henry on a seam throw with Peppers in tight coverage. And that's one of those, again, where we talk about incompletions and mistakes. I couldn't tell you. I'd have to ask him. We didn't talk to Drake yesterday. Was that last throw overthrown to Henry over the back of the end zone one of those, if you miss in the back, throw it too high because no one's going to get it. Whereas in the front of the end zone, you want to throw it too low. Or did he just chuck it? He seemed frustrated, which to me would say I'm not giving the benefit of the doubt to him, but this is all we have to work with. So of all that, again, what stood out?
Well, what stood out to me, and it's more about who he was throwing to, is, this is crazy to say, this is where you miss Mac Hollins, who, of course, has not participated. He's been there. Good on him for being there for the entirety of the offseason program, but is still not cleared to play from whatever he's coming back from. They're missing that big body target. I mean, they have Hunter, obviously. That's going to be a focal point for the defense in that area, but it's trying to throw a contested ball to Kyle Williams in the corner. Like Kendrick, there's just not enough size and beef for someone to not necessarily be open, but be open. And I think in theory, that's what Mac Hollins is supposed to be. And again, it's on the lower end. We're not talking DK Metcalf here, but it's that sort of body type where,
if only.
Yeah, right.
If only. All my fake trades down the drain. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, they tried. He just didn't want any part of them. So that to me was just sort of standout, where it's just like some of the same problems you've had at wide receiver for the last number of years, you currently still have.
My wildcard thought is something that I do not write about very often because I just think it's difficult to accurately capture and certainly project for a 22 or soon to be 23-year-old, soon to be married man. Congrats to Drake Maye.
Yes.
His leadership is going to be paramount this season. And Mike Vrabel has spoken to the, I don't want to say delicate because it makes it sound soft, but unusual nature of asking a kid that young to step up into what is clearly a huge leadership void with this team. And you can put in Sharpie. Okay, right now, June 11th, when the Patriots announce their captains for next season, Morgan Moses is going to be in there. Hunter Henry will be a member. Stephon Diggs might be, okay? But Drake Maye is going to be in there, and I think when things go south, they're going to need to hear from him. And I have confidence that he will eventually develop into a real leader. I think the traits are there, the aura, as the kids say. But aside from those guys and Diggs, who knows how things go when they go south here. If he's not getting the ball in particular, he's got to hold his ground and be able to steer the ship or at least relay what Mike Vrabel's doing. Because Mike's not going to put too much on his plate, but you're a second-year quarterback, no matter how old you are, and you're tasked with leading a team that's hoping to have a winning season, maybe make the playoffs. I don't know what that looks like. And it's not because I don't believe in the kid. It's just clearly unknown territory. And when you look, like if David Andrews is here, I'll put it this way. If David Andrews is still here, and this is not to wag a finger at them releasing him. The guy can't play catch with his kid in the backyard right now. I would have much less concerns than I do right now. But it's a lot of new leadership there, and I don't know what it looks like.
I don't even know this. I don't even know how to contextualize this in terms of like, what does it mean? I don't know what it means. Tom Brady, you always heard Tom Brady's voice on the practice field, especially when it was just us and the OTAs and the spirit, yelling at guys, encouraging, talking trash, whatever. Mac Jones, very vocal. You heard Mac. You heard that squeaky voice of his, like with the Southern twang. You'd hear that. And again, Brady, greatest quarterback of all time. Mac Jones on his third team, whatever. I never hear Drake. Just never. I don't know if that's just not his style. I don't know if he just doesn't project. I don't know if we just catch him on the 5 days that we saw him this spring. He wasn't, but on the other days he was. Like I never hear him. And I don't know what that means, if it means anything at all. I just find it noteworthy that I was thinking about this when the conversation came up again for like the sixth time this offseason about his leadership. And I was like, I don't think I've ever heard him emote in one way or the other. I just don't think, like, you've seen some visible frustration, as you mentioned, in the red zone on Tuesday. Like, okay, but like, I haven't heard the F-bomb. I haven't heard like awesome play. Like, he just even keel, steady, and I don't know what that means.
Yeah, and Vrabel's spoken to this. Sometimes you need to be a different guy after a crap play and not worry about. I mean, the question was pointed of like, does he need to worry about being liked by everyone? And Mike cut that off immediately. It was like, this is the NFL. It's just not going to happen. And guys were certainly frustrated or pissed at Brady when he was, ranting and raving and mad at them for screwing up.
Yep.
And that was his prerogative. You're the captain, you're the quarterback, you're the leader. Drake is being tasked now with, and Mike Reese has written about this, and you've seen some pictures, at the end of certain practices as they run sprints, using that cadence and making sure that guys go when they're supposed to. It sounds like taking a snap and they need to go on 4 and to be louder. Don't think that's an accident. And again, you put it very well. We don't know if it means anything. We caught him on a bad day. He's only 22. He's going to learn. He's going to grow. We both believe in the kid. The leadership part, though, is a big challenge for anybody in their second season, let alone, again, someone who's going to turn 23 in, I think, August.